Get Spiritual. I'm your host, Annie, and I'm here with my bestie, Ashley, and we'd love for you to join us as we discuss all aspects of spirituality and wellness. So sit back, take a breath, and let's get spiritual. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Let's Get Spiritual.
Hey, guys. What's
we
up?
We have a special treat this week.
You are dying.
Yes, I am so excited about this. So with some of the topics we've covered in the past, we want to dive a little bit deeper into them and get to know some people who are also experts in these topics. So we've been blessed to have our super special guest today. She is a former science department head turned crystal healer and self-proclaimed geogeek extraordinaire. She is the founder of Hibiscus Moon Crystal Academy, which is where I received my certification from. And I'm honored to have her here. And she's also the author of the book, Crystal Grids, How and Why They Work. It's an amazing read if you're into gridding. So without further ado, allow me to introduce the very smart, super passionate, beautiful, and inspiring Hibiscus Moon.
Yay,
wow.
Woo,
my goodness, you guys,
yes.
that's the best intro I've ever had. I'm going to let my husband listen to that one.
If he ever forgets.
Make it a ringtone so you can always remember.
So welcome. We're very excited and honored to have you here with us. And I think we're just all very excited to kind of dive in to get to know you a little bit better and your impact on like the crystal community. So welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So we all know you by Hibiscus Moon. The first thing we'd like to know is how and why you chose that as your name.
Okay. Well, contrary to popular belief, my parents were not hippies and they did not name me that at birth. As cool as that would have been. I have a very long Italian name. And at the time, as you said, I was a science department chair.
Yeah.
And at the time I was like starting to like, I wouldn't call it come out of the closet because everybody always knew I was all into that stuff. But I think becoming more online, doing things online. I was doing videos on YouTube with just my hands, no face, I was kind of like hiding because it was the second, I don't know if it still is, but Broward County was the second largest school district in the nation. And they wouldn't have appreciated me being like the fringe science department head on YouTube,
Yeah.
So
that's unfortunate.
I looked out my window. It was a full moon and I have this huge hibiscus bush right there. It was illuminated as if it was glowing as I was asking, like thinking to myself, what should the name be? And it was almost like,
it's right here.
Right here, burning bush.
Hey girl, hi.
Hello. So that was it. It was just kind of, I can't really say I thought of it. I don't know. I think it was kind of like a
guided to it. It sounds like,
The name kind of chose you almost.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really awesome. So like what got you into crystals at all?
Well, I always was into them since I remember being 3 and I can't remember, it was a Smithsonian museum book or Museum of Natural History museum book because my father is very into museums and was taking us to them. And even I remember seeing those crystal collections when I was very, very young from those museums. If you ever get a chance to go to them, they're amazing.
Yeah.
But we had a coffee table book that I remember like leafing through almost daily. Oops, so sorry.
No worries.
That is my 11/11 intention alarm.
Yes, that's perfect. Everybody make a wish.
Shut on a star. I'll do mine later. I have like a little mantra that I say.
Oh,
but okay,
beautiful.
so the crystal book, had me just pretty much entranced from a very young age. Yeah. And I always knew there was something very special because it showed the crystals in their natural state. And then as a faceted gem, if it corresponded, and I was like, wait, I don't, like something like I'm showing a smoky quartz right now. Something like this
so nice.
Comes out of the earth looking like that.
I literally say that. I'm like, that's literally how Mother Earth created like these amazing large sometimes.
Can be.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that it comes from the earth like that. And it's naturally.
It's a beautiful treasure
formed.
that just needs to be found sometimes.
Yes. And it contradicts what we know about nature because usually in nature, there are no straight lines, right?
Yeah.
But you look at these crystals and they're very ordered and they are straight and they just defy nature, almost it looks like. So that's why it's like, whoa. And everybody always thinks they're so beautiful. So I was
Mhm.
always obsessed with them. And later in life, science drew me in because I'm always like questioning and everything, wanting to explore. So science was natural for me to fall into.
Yeah.
And of course, science can be part of, crystals can be part of science or are part of science. There's
Right.
the whole realm of geology, mineralogy, crystallography, which gets really like nerdy.
That's my fave.
I know, right? Isn't it so interesting?
I love getting nerdy over crystals and metaphysics in general, like quantum physics. I never knew there was a huge spot in my heart for it.
Yeah.
It's insane.
The thing is, the more we learn, really, I was just saying this morning to somebody on my blog, the more we learn, the more we realize we don't know shit. We don't know anything. Exactly. Oh, sorry. Am I allowed to say that?
You're good. You're
allowed to curse.
Yeah.
I'm on a lockdown, but you go, girl. Because I could have a potty mouth.
Down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Were you bad?
Yeah.
I'm funny, and sometimes I like to highlight the funny with curse words.
Oh my God, this is so much fun. I love it.
So yeah, like the metaphysics and like science aspect of working with crystals is really what like got me hooked through the course that you taught. And I just geeked over all of it. Like that really took, like how you said, like we just look at this as a beautiful like form of nature, but there's like so much more to it. And the science aspect of it's really how it like gets shown and
I think
displayed.
That's the part that I like the most, because most of the time people see crystals and they're like, oh, shiny rocks. Like, but to hear like what you've learned and in turn taught me just about the science of things, it really is interesting. And it's amazing to see how, these shiny rocks, they really do have an effect on our well-being and our just everything about us. So
they absolutely do. And that's what shocked me the most was I thought I was the only weirdo on the planet that nerded out to the level and the places that I go to with the crystals, like bringing the metaphysics and the crystals together. Because I was always into both, but I didn't quite realize how they fit together so well.
Right.
And then I just started finding all these common threads. And now that's like my favorite thing to do is to find the common threads and show them to other people. But at the time I thought was, like nobody else is going to be into this.
Yeah.
And they were. I mean, that was a complete accident. I didn't know that was going to be so attractive to so many people. I was just in a community on YouTube. I wasn't in there trying to find a following. I was just in a community of people who loved crystals back in 2007. That's like the Jurassic Age, in the internet. Land.
Like the first couple of days of YouTube, the first couple of years of it coming out where people really started to form communities like this. So that's really great. And I was going to say, you kind of started like that, where you just wanted to meet other people who were interested in the same kind of stuff that you were. So that's a really cool way to find more people and really build the community that you have.
Yeah, because I was really, really hungry for that. And I thought the internet was so wonderful in that way that, if there were a few other nerds on planet like me, I could find them there on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I always say, use the technology to help you.
Yes.
And that's exactly what you did. It's a beautiful thing to see, because I did do a little research. Shocker, I know, because I usually don't do that. I literally just show up. I'm like, okay, girl, what are we doing today? But I did do a little research and I stumbled across, I think it was actually on your page. It was maybe the one and only time you said it was in the little article that you wrote up. It was like 9 or 10 things to know about Hibiscus Moon. And
oh my God, that is so old.
I know. I said, I don't do research. So I just stumbled upon it and I was like, let's find out about her. Okay. And it's beautiful to see how, as a child, because you did mention you would flip through your father's books, like to the point that you wore out the pages, but just to see how your spirit and your soul, even in that little body, knew that this was something that was going to lead to something greater for you. And it's really beautiful to see how that like really progressed into where you're at now.
Oh, that gives me goosebumps. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
I think it was my destiny. That was my plan and my purpose. And just, my little self just like remembered that, like that was my contract. And I didn't know it at the time, of course, had no idea, but it resonated so much because I knew, oh yeah, this is what I'm going to be doing later.
Yeah.
Somehow, on some level.
And I think everyone has that in them. So
Yeah, it's
for all
just
the listeners
amazing.
out there, you got to find your own
You do.
little.
And you have to trust in the process. You just said you kind of just went with the flow and look at all the amazing doors and opportunities that it's opened up for you. Just trusting
Yeah.
in the universe.
Well, it's trusting my intuition.
Mhm.
You know,
Yes.
I didn't always do that, but when I learned to do it and you know, trust my muse, and you just have to learn, your intuition knows exactly
It
what's
always
up.
does.
And we can always remember all those times when we didn't listen
Yep.
and we did what someone else told us to do, or we did
Yep.
what the head was telling us to do, and your gut instinct knew better, right?
Exactly.
It always does.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
I really feel like working with crystals kind of helps strengthen that relationship between your head and your intuition, and like discern which is which, and to help people make better decisions. That's
Mhm.
why I really noticed that in my own practice of like doing yoga and meditating and starting to work with crystals. And it kind of just developed into this, I need all of them in my life all the time. And then I came across the certification program and I'm like, this is exactly what I almost signed up to be a realtor. I was going to sign
you
up.
were going to do something completely different.
And I got to like this page and I had all my information typed in. I had all the payment in and I'm like, I can't do it. I can't pull the trigger. And then literally like within that week, I saw like an ad for the become a crystal practitioner. And I'm like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And it was like nothing. And that's how I became, you know, a certified practitioner through the Hibiscus Moon Academy, was just by chance like that, a passion that kind of just flourished over time once I followed the intuition and gave it the attention and like kind of just went with that wave. Like you said earlier, just ride the wave.
Because you were really questioning yourself. I mean, I remember having conversations with you and I'm like, do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
Like do what, you know, who
Yeah.
cares
And
what
I'm
anybody
so
else is going to
glad.
say, just do it.
Yeah. I'm really
So.
glad I just kept going. It's very scary sometimes, but, but you just got to go with it and trust and follow your gut. And I think that's great. You're a great example of that as well.
Well, you're a great example of that,
Aw.
Anne, because what you said earlier, the crystals, I think, do definitely get you more in tune
Mhm.
to listening and knowing to take the path of your intuition, that your intuition
Yes.
is drawing you to. I think working more closely with the crystals, meditation, all of those things, I 100% agree with you on that. And, you know, the universe is always opening up doors for us.
Yes.
But a lot of times we shut them. We're not paying
Yep.
attention, you know?
Or we're
Or just
we're already
afraid.
shut. Yeah. We're afraid to go through there. So yeah,
Afraid.
I think it's a great lesson here for everyone to continue to work on listening to your intuition and fine tuning yourself to get better at it.
Yeah.
And you're doing so great because, like we were just talking about before, I saw a viral article come out on you because of where you work and how you work your workspace and the whole little community that you found and everything. And then I realized, because I always look, you know, if there's a crystal practitioner comes up in my Google alerts, you know, where did they graduate from, or if they graduated, if they have a certification. You don't have to, but I was like, oh, she's one of us. She's one of us.
That's me. Yeah. And I love the relationship here and kind of putting myself in a position where there's not a lot of people around here that are really familiar with crystal therapy or using them as everyday practice in like meditation and stuff, and kind of opening up some doors in this community and welcoming people to explore this avenue a little bit as a method of, there's so much stress in life. So we need to find different creative ways to kind of zen a little bit and relax and connect with ourselves, because there's so many things that keep us disconnected from ourselves in society. So it's really important.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Okay. So do you find that working where you are in a co-working space, that you're bringing in people who might not have normally sought out crystal therapy, and that it's more of like a mainstream and they're like, oh, wow. Oh, I never would have known or done this? Or
yeah, because like my business is called The Hidden Gem, and it's crystal therapy and meditation services.
That's
and
right,
because
you plug yourself, girl.
Yes.
Plug yourself, queen.
So I, as a member of this workspace, my logo is displayed all over the place, and I know that that's just putting like what's crystal therapy? Oh, meditation services. So that's just, I want this little buzz to just kind of vibrate all the way out into the far ends of the universe, from, you know, just a logo and then seeing one of my clients and I walk through the hallway and hearing my conversations. I know there's other people around, and it's just a really cool, there's a high energy here. And I just really love to like feed off of it. And it's a tight knit community here, but we're very open to new members. So it's a great space. And I really do think a lot of people who normally wouldn't be interested in crystal therapy are now kind of like, oh, okay. Cause I want crystal therapy to be up there with acupuncture and Reiki. Like it is already in some areas, but not everywhere. And I want it to be a more mainstream form of energy therapy and like sound healing. Like all of those are in this like category of things that help us raise our vibrations. So the more access that people have to it and know that it's out there, the more that people can get into it more and the more mainstream it can become. And a place like this where I'm at VentureX allows me to really put my voice and my platform out there. So, and this is where we record these podcasts. So
yeah, I was going to say it's opened up a lot of, it's crazy. Again, universe, you're so amazing. The journey that you started in becoming, you know, a student of Miss Hibiscus Moon, you definitely opened up so many other doors.
Yes.
So many other doors. I mean, even for us, I would never be podcasting if it wasn't for you getting these opportunities. So
so a lot
amazing.
has unfolded from this opportunity. And it's been a real blessing in general.
Wow. And you guys are so good at this. I mean,
Thanks.
It was like what you were meant to be doing. I do believe that crystal therapy is becoming more of the mainstream.
Yeah.
But you doing this in the way that you're doing it, you're a forerunner in bringing that to the front lines, you know, I mean, because we all know there's a spiritual awakening that happened over the last few years, right?
Yes. Yes.
And more people need this than ever before.
Yeah.
And,
exactly.
Making it more accessible and more, I don't like the word, don't like hate. I never shouldn't say that, but I don't love the word normalize. Like if someone else says that one more time, I'm going to, but
quiver.
But can you think of another word of what I'm trying to say? Like make this more
just not even accepted. Cause
not accepted, but just more like oh yeah. Okay. You know?
Yeah.
Just make it more of like a natural thing for people to turn to.
And I feel
not like what? Whoa, wait, what? What are you talking about?
What do you mean?
Aren't
so
they
like
radicalized?
rocks?
Like what? You weird hippie girl with
like,
your rocks?
crystal therapy.
No.
Yeah, I've looked into that, you know, like something that's more of a normal conversation. And I feel like with the trends out there on social media and everything, it is kind of becoming more normalized. So it's again, not a great
that's
word.
Why we need people like the two of you to show people what exactly it is they're stepping their foots into. Because what was that stone that ruins your life?
Yeah, moldavite. Like with like TikTok and all that, like moldavite became very popular. And I feel like people are just like diving into these trends without really having any knowledge of it. And I feel like having like crystal therapy and all these, you know, shops and new age shops and more access to this information will help people better understand it's not just a rock, that they can have some intense energy that they carry sometimes. So
the moldavite TikToks always made me laugh because they're like, I got this new stone and it's going to change my life. That's what someone told me. Like the next video is, I lost my job and I broke up with my boyfriend. I'm like, oh girl, you shouldn't have messed with that yet.
Yeah. Moldavite's going to change your life if you really put that intent into it.
Have you seen with Leonardo DiCaprio scene from a movie and he's like, so you want moldavite? And he's like hysterically laughing with this very sly grin. It cracks me up every time I see that. It's so funny.
That's
so
a good
true.
one. It is so true. So speaking of different stones, do you have like a favorite crystal or one that you work with the most?
I'm going to be real boring and tell you it's this wearing for years and years and years on my neck. And actually I got a funny story because we talked about kind of like a full circle thing, how I started on YouTube in 2007. This was the crystal that I was following this dude on YouTube who was like so cool out there. Like he didn't care. He didn't care what anybody thought of him. And I learned about crystal gritting through him. He's not on there anymore. But he also wore one of these, like it's like one of those adjustable necklaces around his head so that the amethyst was always laying on his third eye. Every time he did a video, that he was like tapped in, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, I gotta get myself an amethyst like that and make myself a little. So I made myself this little necklace. Nice. I don't wear it around my head. I never got into that. It just didn't feel right for me, but it was right for him, boy. And he was cooking up some really cool cosmic energy, and it was amazing. But he inspired me so much. And I am closely bonded to this crystal. Mm-hmm. And people have noticed, like, I don't really notice. It was very dark when I first got it.
Yeah, it looks pretty light.
It's not just that it faded, it changed. The color zoning has moved around.
Wow.
And someone pointed it out to me. Well, a few people pointed out to me how much it's changed over the years. I'm like, well, you guys got some really good eyes.
Yeah.
Then I look at it, I'll take it off sometimes because it's usually on me all the time. I did take it off for like a month. I don't know, half a year ago or so, because I felt like it really needed a good retuning, like a resetting, almost like a piano. You've played it so much. Mm-hmm. You got to get the guy to come in to do the retuning, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whatever you do. So I felt like it needed that. So it needed a stone vacation. So I didn't wear it for a while.
A stonecation.
Exactly. Yeah. We all need a vacation sometimes.
Yes.
I felt like it really needed it. And I parked it where I park my stones for stone vacation. I'm not going to say because, I don't want anything to happen. Well, I went to go get it.
It's fine.
He wasn't there.
Oh.
He was not there. And I was like going through every possible scenario of what could have happened. And it's not like this is the first time this has happened, but I could not have this happen with this color.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it's just going to turn up one day. I know, because I've seen this scenario so many times, and so many people have asked me about crystals disappearing, and like, we can go down that rabbit hole, but it just showed up like a couple months later, sitting in the middle of a crystal grid of one of my crystal grids.
How?
Whoa.
How does that happen?
I don't ask how.
No, seriously.
I don't say anything. Yes, I was elated. I was still surprised. Even me, I was surprised. But I ran and showed my husband, and I was like, I'm not asking any questions. I'm just so glad he's back wherever he went, whatever he went to go do. It was good for him and me, and we're back together.
Yeah, the vacation was on point. That's amazing. That was a great stone vacation for that one. That's fun. And then when he was ready to come back, he's like, I'm going to come back right here into this.
That's
middle.
Just wild.
That is
like just
might have gone and worked with somebody else, or maybe dimension. I don't know.
If only you could find the story of how that stonecation was. Yeah,
it does. Well, it holds that information. So I'm sure it's vibrating with you, and that's what helps that relationship get stronger when you reintroduce it into your space again.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's awesome.
Downloads are happening.
Yes. So my next question is, what caused you to pursue crystal therapy and then on to creating the Crystal Academy?
So we kind of touched upon the crystal love for crystals. Then the crystal therapy was just kind of like there in the background. I was always going to do you guys remember Meetup? That was like a new thing on the internet when you guys are looking around.
I'm sorry.
I've heard of it, but I don't know that I've ever used it.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, before YouTube was born, there was like the beginnings of the internet in the early 2000s. There was this thing called Meetup, and you could find groups of people who were into stuff. So I would find like groups of people who were into crystals, or groups of people that were into chakra balancing. And I'd get so excited because there wasn't a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I would go to these little things like after working at the school, I'd be like excited because Thursday night I was going to go do a chakra balancing group session with people in a meetup group.
Yeah.
That's
and
fun.
You'd meet up with other people. And sometimes there was like a little fee or whatever. So I would do that. Okay. Mm-hmm. But I, at the time, saw it completely separate from my science teaching, but it started sneaking in because it's inevitable. You're going to bump into the common threads,
right?
And the quantum physics, because I was teaching physics to gifted students and things like physicist John Wheeler saying things like, I had a sign above the clock in my classroom, because kids in a classroom, you're looking at the clock. And I had a sign that covered the clock that said John Wheeler's quote that, let me see if I can remember it, quote, "There is no such thing as time. It's just," I'm going to paraphrase. It's something we've invented to keep everything from happening at the same time, And the kids would be like, what does that mean? What is this crazy place? It's like walking into Alice in Wonderland with all this, and there was no time. And I'm like, let's talk about time crystals now.
Yes. That's a good segue into time crystals.
Exactly.
I say that all the time. I'm like, time isn't real.
It doesn't exist.
Stop worrying about it. It doesn't exist. It's all happening at once, the past, the future, and the present.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
That is so crazy. So then from
it's
that,
just our construct to be sane, I think.
Yeah.
In some
yeah.
way.
I mean,
Makes
and
sense
it helps us make sense of the sun coming up and going down and all of that.
and get to an interview on time.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
I think
We can all be here at the same time.
Exactly. I think
Yeah.
we said that in one of the episodes. We're like, time isn't real, but I'm like, don't you show up late though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and then from there, did that kind of just create a community for the academy? Is that like,
Oh yeah. Okay. So I totally forgot what the question
That's
was.
okay.
Yes. I found on YouTube. I started doing my videos and like sharing what I knew.
Mhm.
And of course, plugging the science into because that's the lens that I see it from,
Yeah.
and so that was always part of what I was saying. And people started asking, well, you're a teacher. Can you teach a class on this? So I was teaching live classes in person.
Okay. Yeah.
But I was also getting my master's at the same time in curriculum instruction and technology. So way before there were courses online, I Frankensteined an online course because followers asked me to. And I was like, I could totally do this. Yeah. I have like a really unique, nutty skill set to be able to do this. So I did it. I did like one class. Then they asked, the first class was, I think it was crystal grids.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, can you write a book about this? I was like, sure. The book was already written because it was a class. So I just took it, threw it into a book.
Mm-hmm.
Then I did another 1 or 2 classes. And then people started asking, can you certify us in this? And I was like, no, there's like no governing body for this. Let me go figure this out. I did. I figured it out. And here we are over 12 years later.
That's so
That's
exciting.
amazing.
And now it is coming to like, this is the last summer where anyone could register to become a crystal practitioner. Is that my understanding?
Yeah. With me. Yes.
With
yes.
you, yes.
Of course, there's other courses out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's actually this fall. This fall is going to be, I'm calling it my farewell term. So I just decided that my journey for certifying students it's come to an end.
Mm-hmm.
I love what I do, but my standards of how I do things makes it kind of difficult on myself. So, I decided that, I need to put a hard stop on when this part of things will end. And I'm going to go off and like just next year, I told myself I'm not doing anything, just what feels like joy and fun and service.
That's beautiful.
And I'm not going to be online. I'm deleting all my social media. I just need to discount for a while. And then what happens
follow
later?
Your intuition.
I follow my intuition. There
Ride
we go.
that way.
What happens?
That's amazing. I actually just got your summer bundle because the summer solstice bundle, because I'm like, there's so much here and I need all of it. So I totally took advantage of that. I'm like, I can't, at least I have this now forever that I can revisit it at any time. So definitely worth that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Have fun with it.
I'm really excited to dive into it. I haven't yet. I've been in the middle of too many things, but when the time is right, I am ready to get into all of the goodness packed into that bundle.
Well, you have forever to do it. So
I know that's the best part of it. One of the questions that I have for you that's kind of from one of the other listeners I asked is there a specific time that you recall where crystals have made a tangible difference in your life or in the life of someone you know? Where like, obviously there has been because of all the success and how people kept asking you for more help in the certification. But is there something that like stands out to the people who are maybe skeptics or think this is very woo-woo, like a very tangible example of how crystals have maybe helped someone?
There are so many stories I have. And the, I like to call, I say there's no coincidences. I call them synchromysticisms. They are coming so frequently now that I can't even keep these stories straight in my own head anymore. Wow. Most profoundly, I would say that crystals have definitely allowed me to very easily manifest my goals and dreams. And I'm not someone who comes from an easy background, like privileged or anything like that at all. Quite the opposite. So I witnessed and actually, lived through a huge transformational shift. And then I see that happening with my students experiencing these huge transformational shifts over and over again. As they master working with the energy of crystals. Mm-hmm. Now I feel like, okay, this sounds crazy, but I feel so in sync with our student body that now we're like manifesting things together through the crystals. Wow. So here's just an example of this. And this just happened. I had a completely different response prepared, but like every 2 weeks we come out with a new blog post. And when my content manager helped me put together some possible topics and like fleshed out the skeletons for me years ago for some of them. Like here's one for turquoise, here's one for amethyst, here's one for selenite. And then I swoop in when I feel like writing further about it whenever the fancy strikes. And then I put in all my little, doodads and any new things I've discovered and new ways that I've worked with the crystal. So selenite's been hanging out in the
what my earrings are.
Oh,
they are.
Isn't that amazing?
Right, so this is perfect. This is perfect.
Yes.
Oh my God, I can't believe you're wearing that. Okay, so selenite's been hanging out in my rough draft blog posts for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
She wrote it that long ago. And I was just recently like, Lisa, let's flesh out that selenite blog post. And she's like, okay. So I went in there and did my thing. And then I kept getting downloads. And then over the weekend, I was telling my husband, I'm like, this one's going to be so good. Oh my God. Like I get this feeling when it's not me, it's just I'm a conduit and something's just pouring through me so easily. Yeah. I had that feeling. He's just like, okay, whatever.
Okay,
you
like,
think,
I love you. Go do it.
I love you. Okay. You go. So I kept doing that and going back to it and finding more and remembering more and like, oh my God, what about this? What about that? Okay, so we set it to publish for yesterday on Wednesday. On Tuesday, I'm talking to the students in the group, and there's a whole thread about, I'm really getting confused about this whole selenite, satin spar, gypsum thing. I really wish Hibiscus Moon would write a blog post about that.
Oh, man.
And I was like,
you just wait.
You guys are so tapped in that they knew what I had in the rough draft post. This is not public. Nobody can see it. Nobody knew about it, but me and Lisa, and we did not talk about it to anyone. Yeah. So they were just totally tapping into where I was.
Yep.
And then I started getting, this is all within a couple of days, these selenite gifts. Technically, some of them were satin spar, but you got to read the blog post yesterday. And they were like, geez, I wish everything I asked for was this easy. Like they were very specific. And the blog post was very specifically nailing it on the head.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's so
read this.
Yeah, I know. I want to read the blog post now, especially because I have them.
Okay. So now let's figure out your earrings. So are they satiny looking or are they very clear and transparent?
These, I think, are a little bit more of the satiny.
Yeah, I was going to say they're more satiny.
Yeah,
they're not really clear and transparent.
They're a little, they're pretty opaque.
And would you say they're kind of fibrous looking?
Yeah, fibrous. Yes. And it's actually kind of smoother than I thought it would be. So I think, is this one fall in the satin spar?
Correct.
Nice.
Look at you, girl. Yeah. It's like you're certified in this
but
or
they're
something.
they're all still
gypsum though.
Yeah, they're all gypsum. So
they are all gypsum.
The
people are getting all
clear.
Up in arms now because the people, are trying to get very technical. And even the rock hounds, or when you go to the gem shows, they call that selenite. They just call it selenite. It's all selenite. Yes, we know technically that's satin spar and the clear, very translucent plates are technically selenite, but it's not like a big no. Oh my God, you call that, you called satin spar selenite? Yeah. Get out of here.
Yeah.
You have no right to be here.
Don't you disrespect the stones.
Yes.
There's some things that are that way. It's just funny. It's just through experience and hanging out with the rock hounds and the gem shows and figuring out what's acceptable, what's not. But it's not like a huge no, but somebody on TikTok made it a huge no. So now everybody's
so now,
around
of course,
concerned that they're calling it the wrong thing.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah. So another question I have is, since there are so many skeptics out there, what is someone like you with your type of science background? Like, what's your go-to to help them kind of get out of that skepticism a little bit?
All I have to do is throw science at it. That's all I have to do. And that always makes them just shut up with their skepticism and take it seriously.
Yeah.
Because they don't expect that. They think of you to be, someone airy fairy woo woo, and you just need to believe. You just need to believe. Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's true.
Right.
But I'm not going to come at you with that argument. I'm going to come at you with all the science that backs up how and why crystals work. They don't expect that.
Right.
And now that I have is it over 2,600 graduates on the planet that can do the same thing? This is really catching on.
Yeah.
And because we can easily, in lay people terms, explain the science, and then they just go, oh,
wow,
let me hear more.
That's honestly what drew me into, because like you said, there are other crystal practitioner courses out there, plenty of them nowadays, especially I was looking in like 2020 and 2021. But the fact that yours was science-based and with your accreditations, like that's what drew me into it. Cause I was like, you know what? I love skeptics, honestly, and I love the people who don't believe. They're like, not a challenge to me, but I just love showing them the science behind it and kind of watching it happen in front of me, that they're like, oh, wow. Like, I guess you're right. And for me, it was when using a pendulum to read chakras, like that was something that was like the first tangible, like, this stuff is real.
I was going to say, that's my favorite part about getting a session with you is watching that and pendulum.
That's my favorite part of the session. And, I usually tell my clients, especially first timers, like, if you want to watch this part, it's okay if you open your eyes, because it really is something incredible to see how your energy is moving a stone. Like the stone's just hanging there, but because your energy is present in that chakra right there, it's moving or sometimes not moving the stone, depending on any imbalances that are there. But that was really, and then like the science behind it, the principles of entrainment and all of that stuff. I was blown by the science myself. And I wasn't even a skeptic. It just made my passion that much stronger for all of this.
That was the part that I backed into by accident. I didn't realize. And people think, sometimes they're scared. They're like, oh, wait, science. I was not good in science.
Yeah.
But everybody comes away from this because it's about a topic that they enjoy. Crystals, I think, that opens the door for them to fully understand this stuff. And I try to break it down in a way that's easy for people to understand and present it in lots of different ways, because we all have a different method of learning. All of us are different. So, but yes, I think when you can explain it from that point of view, and I understand science, like I'm not afraid to be wrong. I'm not afraid to debate with people respectfully, about things back and forth, because I really do understand the science deeply on a deep level.
Yes.
So I'm good to go. Like, let's go at it. Let's look at this from all angles. Let's explore it. Let's see if we can prove it wrong or prove it right or whatever. I just get so passionate about that.
It's refreshing to hear that, because a lot of people sometimes, I feel, get stuck in like, no, it's supposed to be this way. And I'm a why person too. Well, why? Why not? Like, let's explore that. Let's talk about it.
There's so much dogma out there. And some people are even teaching the science behind the crystals, which is all great and good. But I think you need to really understand it rather than just parrot what's a book said, because then when you ask for an explanation, they can't really deeply explain explore with it because they don't understand it from that deep level.
Yeah. I even felt that when we did our episode on crystals, I'm like, I can cover, like, it's got to be the basics, because there's so much about the science behind it that, again, like, you need an entire course and certification program and that just like, I feel like skimmed the surface of it all.
Totally. I don't know it all. There's still so much more for me to go explore. There's still so much more for me to learn and figure out. Like, we just did a play date on crystals and rainbows, and there's a whole other realm right there to explore, and what's going on with the electromagnetic frequencies of the colors of the rainbows and how the crystals presenting them and what exact light codes and information it's imparting
in there. Yeah, I actually noticed a sunstone last night that I was using in one of my sessions, and I've never noticed sunstone have that like orangey, like shine to it, like a sheen to it. And I've never seen that in sunstone. I'm like, oh, I didn't know it had a little flare to it, like almost like a labradorite has that like hidden like flare to it. And I love finding these little pieces
No.
of information and crystals like that. I even told my client, I was like, this citrine right here has so many rainbows in it and it's going to bring you so much joy. This one's for you.
Oh.
And she's like, and I was showing her in the light, and it's amazing that kind, just the little details in these stones are so incredible and full of information. And it's amazing.
I'm always finding new things in my crystals. Sometimes I take a select few out into the sun on a bright sunny day because that will like help you sleuth out all the little hidden things in the crystals.
Yeah.
There's rainbows still that I'm discovering that I didn't know were there because I took it out into the sun, or there's record keepers or all kinds of different formations and things like you could still, or maybe, hey, maybe they weren't there and then they're presenting themselves now. I'm open to that too.
Yeah, exactly. That's all amazing. So one of my last questions is like, what advice do you have for anyone exploring spirituality in the metaphysics world in general and kind of going down, into crystals and tarot and all of that?
Oh, wow. Okay. So I would say, as we mentioned already, intuition, that's our most powerful asset. We really need to learn to trust it. And the more you trust it, the more powerful it will become. So it's like a positive feedback loop. And we need to trust it more, especially now. I think it's more powerful than ever, and trusting it and learning to empower yourself, because you trust it once and it brought you to the right place. That's going to empower you so much. You're going to get so much self-assuredness from that the next time it becomes easier and easier. So I think anyone like exploring spirituality and metaphysics, you just take what feel like, you'll have this inner knowing, and you'll be like, that is correct. I knew that all along. Yes, that feels right. But then some other things that I may teach you or anybody else, whatever, might not feel right. You might be like, well, I don't know. Listen to your intuition. Go with it. Go with it.
That's you know what you don't know sometimes.
Yes. You already know. So lastly, like, what's up next for you? Do you have any promos that you want to talk about? And what's up next for you after, like you said, just completing the fall session of Hibiscus Moon?
That's the big thing that's up next is we're going to rock the house. We are doing everything, pulling out all the stops, doing the whole 9 yards. I'm doing a bunch of live events with that term because it's the last term.
Yeah. And the big finale.
It's the big finale and it's coming around full circle. We have our alumni joining us for a lot of things. And if you just want to get in on like my world and what we do, like I'm still teaching, and with the free newsletters, like I just sent out the newsletter about the selenite that we just talked about and put a free gift in there. I always like throwing out free gifts to my newsletter subscribers. So I don't change like what my promo is. It's been the same for the whole entire time. I probably don't follow the right marketing rules with that, but it's an e-kit where you can set up your own sacred space with crystals. And so I give you a private tour of my own sacred space. It's an ebook with all kinds of ideas. And there's a meditation in there that allows you to meditate in your sacred space with crystals. So you just go to hibiscusmoon.com/gift, hibiscusmoon.com/gift, and you subscribe to my newsletter. And that's the first thing you're going to get is that e-kit. So
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I have to say, like, as someone who's been a student of yours and, to anyone out there, even just for informational purposes, you make the science part easy to digest. Science, sometimes even like, you're like, wow, that was a lot. Like when we talk about some things, it can get a little confusing, but I think you make it really approachable, really digestible, and really kind of like anyone on any level can understand it and grasp the concepts that you're putting out there. So I have to commend you. And I recommend everyone download the free kit, follow and subscribe, because I just love listening to you. You're full of passion, you're full of zest. And I think you're just really putting a lot of really great information out into the world.
Oh, thank you so
got an
much.
Amazing energy. Like I said, I don't really do a lot of research. So I didn't know what to expect coming into this, but you are amazing. You have such a vibe and you can tell that you are so aligned with your purpose because you just like glow with it. It's a wonderful, I would love to meet you in person because you're amazing over a computer.
I tell everybody, you can do whatever you want, but if you're having fun doing it and you really love doing it and it's hard for you to put it down, you're in your zone, baby.
Yes.
You are totally in your zone. And
Absolutely.
I think people get excited about the science because I get excited about it. And I think I try to find all these different ways to explain it because I love to explain it and I want you to get it. And like even on Instagram, I was doing stories. I like to teach in my stories. And I was teaching about the differences between these two crystals. And I did a bunch of these little quizzes and a little teaching. And I was like, do you guys get it? And they're like, no. And I was like, oh, no, this is time for remediation. You have no idea. You lit the fire under my ass. So we dove back in and I went boom, 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 boom. Okay, how about this way and this way and this way? And then I was like, do you feel more confident? Do you get it now? And they were like, yes. And I started playing that Mission Impossible music because it was mission accomplished.
That's awesome.
I think people don't care until they know that you care.
Right.
Yeah.
When they feel the true energy that you really deeply care about this, they get into it. They get excited. They get vested into it. So
that is so true.
I don't know. I think that's what
I
it is.
agree. I know. I'm very excited. Well, I want to thank you for the interview. And I would hope that you're okay sticking around for Ashley to do her tarot reading.
Do some tarot.
She usually pulls a tarot card at the end of each
I'd love
episode.
to.
And that'll give us the energy for the week or for whomever is listening to this at that time. These are the messages. So
if it makes it to your ears, it was meant to be. So take it as it resonates.
Oh, incredible.
So while Ashley shuffles her cards, I allow our listeners and myself and Ashley to take some breaths so that we can all kind of get into a nice little space. We're going to take 3 counts in, breathing in peace, and then 3 counts out, letting out any stress and tension in your body. We're going to do that 3 times starting now. Inhale, and then exhale for 3 counts. Inhale again, that peace. Send out that stress and tension. And last time, really fill up your lungs and let it all out. And let's see what the cards have.
We're very
store.
Jumpy today, but I will be happy with the one that jumped out. We'll take a look at the bottom and the top of the deck. So the card that made it out of the deck is the Ace of Swords.
Beautiful.
I love aces.
Yes.
Aces is just like the top. The divine has you. It is offering you some amazing things. You can see that again. If you've seen us before in the past, whenever I see this hand, it is the divine offering you something. And you might have to fight for it with this one. I feel like with the swords, you may have been fighting towards something. You've been working towards something that you really wanted to achieve. You've been trying to manifest. You've been trying to just align with this thing, this purpose that you want. And I definitely feel like with the Ace of Swords, it's about to deliver. You got the divine offering you whatever you need to fight through and make it through to that, that next level of what you want to achieve. I do feel like you're definitely on your way to, you're definitely on your way to that because at the bottom of the deck, we have the Knight of Cups. Look at this smug little man. He's like, look at all my
He
stuff.
has all those cups.
Look at all of my abundance and all of my rewards behind me. So definitely keep fighting for whatever it is that you may be working towards because it will definitely come through. And then we have the Lovers at the top of the deck. So the Lovers definitely, obviously people see them, they're like romance. Yes. Which that could be the thing you're fighting for. I don't know. I'm not in your head in your life right now, but I will also say with the Lovers, you definitely, again, we have a beautiful angel just blessing this situation. So whether it be a business partnership, a romantic partnership, whatever it may be, I do feel that you're definitely about to achieve some greatness, and it is greatness that is divinely timed.
Yeah.
So I'm liking the vibe of this read. I like it.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Not
for
a problem.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's when Ashley does her thing.
Yeah,
she
that's
does,
my thing.
Yeah, she likes to do tarot readings. You can find her at A Positive Place on Facebook for anyone listening. And again,
plug me, girl. I love it. You did it before I did.
I know, right? And again, I am one of the alumni of Hibiscus Moon here, and I would love to anyone in this area who's looking for a crystal therapy session. I would love to take what I've learned and pass it on and help anyone learn more about crystals too. So we're all here in this community to just be in the community together and pass on this information
crazy world right now.
Yeah.
So anything that we can do to feel united, to raise our vibrations, to align ourselves more with our intuition, we need to do that.
Yep. We're all here for it. So thank you again, Hibiscus Moon. This was such an honor to have you here. I appreciate you so much.
You're amazing. I'm just cheesing over
Thank you.
here.
The two of you are amazing. Thank you for putting all that out into the universe and doing the work that you do. We do need it. We need more of this and more people doing it. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. So we're going to wrap it up. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you all stay spiritual.